You want to start with the hurricane updates because we had promised like 3 weeks ago to talk about the domestic hurricanes, and I feel like now they're in our rearview mirror. I mean, obviously that's a little insensitive to the people in the southeast and Florida and Georgia, and mostly Florida and Georgia, who are still dealing with the aftermath of Milton and Helene.
Fuck Florida.
Fuck Florida, but
you moved to Florida. You expected the goddamn hurricanes.
Yeah,
man.
I was doing some like hurricane research today. I was looking at the list of like all of the hurricanes that have hit, and this is actually Helene was like the worst hurricane like since Katrina, and Andrew and Sandy. It's one of like a handful of hurricanes to do over $50 billion of damage. In fact, both Milton and Helene both did over $50 billion each. Like, and that was like back to back, almost like two.
Is this with inflation added?
No, I mean this is just yeah. So like they account for inflation in this like tracker, right? So like it's and they hit back to back essentially the same locations. Milton ended up being a lot less severe than
I was expecting like this catastrophic like dire like emergency, everybody hands on deck. Mm-hmm. And when we wake up the next morning, nobody's talking about Milton after it hit.
Yeah, I mean, only a handful of people, like a dozen or so people died, which is really sad. But it's compared to Helene, 3 weeks before that, or not even like 2 weeks before that, Helene killed over 250 people and left like massive amounts of town, like most of like Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, and I think West Virginia were like
fuck the Tennessee, bro.
What I think. Western Tennessee, where it like kind of connects. Like if you look at a map of the southeast, like there was so much rainfall that it triggered flooding in all of those states. That was like pretty like they like covered roads, power outages, and like millions and millions of power outages.
I get that. I just see like the irony of like a hurricane hitting Tennessee.
No, I mean Helene hit fucking hard, dude. It went for a while. It took a couple days to dissipate after breaking landfall. It went for I think I have the dates here. Let me check. Let me get my old eyes to zoom in here. Yeah, it went for 7 days. No, that's Milton. Sorry. Helene went for. Well, I guess Helene only went for 5 days. It formed in the Atlantic on September 24th, and then dissipated over land on September 29th. So it went for 5 straight days. Whereas Milton, ironically, went further. And I think the reason Milton was more feared. Was feared to have done more, like it was going to be worse than it actually ended up being, is because Milton was. I think it's either it's the first or the second strongest hurricane ever over the Atlantic, so over water. It was like building and being huge.
Yeah.
But I think by the time it hit land, I think it hit the Big Bend area of Florida, it was downgraded from what it was. Whereas Helene stayed strong.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it ended up curving around through the Gulf of Mexico, and I just think it
lost a little momentum.
It wandered too long, so by the time it actually reached land, it kind of withered away a little bit. Thank God, It withered away, because if they had hit back to back,
if they had hit back to back, like if Milton had hit with the strength of Helene, like literally, what is that, the 29th to the 5th, 1 week later, it was 1 week apart from these two things. Like that would have like seriously like done some damage to these homes. And like, we got to remember, it's like, once again, as with most things with like these ever increasing kind of climate disasters, it's typically the poor and the working class folks that are like actually suffering through these and actually hit by these, right?
Correct.
Like it's lower income neighborhoods that are destroyed. Not like a hurricane targets those, but those are the ones that are either like the construction is shoddier, or that they don't have the money to rebuild, and they're the ones that are like now homeless for it. Middle class and like upper class people, they can rent and then find a way to like rebuild their home, but trailer parks aren't rebuilt after hurricanes plow through.
Yeah, so either a lot of them end up moving.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I don't even know what to tell you, because like a lot, even FEMA itself, really doesn't do as much.
No, and a lot of those programs were gutted for this. Like Florida, specifically DeSantis, had like some like emergency relief out where everyone was entitled to get 10 gallons of gas.
My God, it come get your scraps?
Basically, everyone was getting, so people were lining up to get like a free 10 gallons of gas, which was empowering like generators and stuff because of power outages. Yeah. And so like that was kind of like, it was basically just like they were just trying to give out as what they could when they could. It wasn't really like, well, obviously it wasn't enough. There's billions in damage. So yeah.
Speaking of FEMA, did you hear about like the Trump supporters basically raiding and like hunting down FEMA workers?
No.
Yeah, there's like a little thing going on, like because Trump was talking shit about Harris and Biden's like weak FEMA implications, and he was basically during his rallies calling out Harris and Biden for using all of their money on FEMA and not having enough money for like housing.
Yeah,
and other stuff.
didn't Trump like gut the FEMA funding?
Yeah, exactly. So it's ironic, but because he was talking so much shit about FEMA, they're literal like Trumpies like
His
going
little
out and
ghouls,
like basically hunting down FEMA workers.
Yeah, I mean it's the same shit when he said Haitians are eating dogs. Haitians got bomb threats in Springfield. Now he says FEMA is like evil. So now
these
people
guys
are
are
going
like
out
trying to like pull people out of like
yeah
abandoned silos that are like collapsing, houses that are faltering, trying to get dogs, trying to help people through ecological crisis, and then these guys are like, there they are, the people that are trying to help, get them.
Yeah. It's insane. I mean, that's just like the power of the hardcore Trump like sycophants. Those guys are nutty. I mean, I don't really. There's all these YouTube like people like I think it's the Young Turks and like a couple other folks like I know Dave and Pacman. So it's like they're like a bunch of liberal like YouTube kind of accounts.
Socdems,
yeah, Socialdem and like liberal accounts, but they have the money and like the infrastructure to go to the Trump rallies, and it's like the Jordan Klepper from the Comedy Central guy.
Correct.
Kind of the same thing where he's interviewing Trump supporters and just like basically trolling them, but they're too dumb to know they're being trolled, and it's just always so funny to listen to. So it's like I get those pop up on my YouTube feed a lot of like just people just like making fun of like the hardest core, like the diehard.
As much as we don't agree with Socdems, it's great to watch these
roasting
Trumpies.
a Trump supporter is roasting a Trump supporter, kind of wherever you are on the political spectrum. So like it's always a good fun. We don't
get along, but get a load of this idiot.
And I just love those videos so much because it's like those guys are just truly clueless and like they're just so far gone.
I watched the video. It's the same people that are out there Sasquatch hunting. And do you ever watch Channel 5?
The Seattle news?
No. Channel 5 with Callahan?
No.
Oh my god. So he's got a YouTube channel called Channel 5.
Oh, I see. I was like, okay. I think the Seattle local news is Channel 5.
Yeah. Okay. No, this guy's a YouTube channel called Channel 5, and he goes to like random places, Mexico, blah blah blah, and he does like journalism from an independent standpoint. But he went to like places all over in Western Washington to interview people about Sasquatch season, and there's like a whole like rally in this small town, and I think it was like Oregon, about Sasquatch catching and watching. And he would interview these people, and they're all Trump supporters, right?
Okay.
But they're all like, I've talked to Sasquatch myself. I met his whole family. See, I'm sitting I'm like, what?
I don't know. So like until you said they were all Trump supporters, I'm like that stuff. That's just good, clean fun, right? If you get a bunch of people that like go out to like a Sasquatch rally, it's like people who live in Nevada go to like the big like Roswell like parties and stuff, and it's like
that's for shits and giggles.
It's just being part of the culture.
These guys are like literal.
But that's different. Yeah, what you're describing is different from what I'm thinking of. Yeah, like there's nothing wrong with going out like a big like having a big party in the desert for like whatever kind of hobby you have. But what you're describing is definitely
these people really think Sasquatch is real. They have like professional Sasquatch calls. I was like, why does that even make sense?
How do you know what Sasquatch sounds like?
Exactly. It's like if we don't know what Sasquatch sounds like. How do you know what he sounds like?
That was pretty fun.
Oh my god. Anyways, I don't know how we got to Hurricane Milton to Sasquatch, but
that's all right.